Not long after I had found my alternative to trading meme coins, I started stacking some serious cash. Now I have over $350,000 in my Phantom wallet. If you watch this video, I'm going to show you a simple step-by-step process that allowed me to dev coins. See, traders, the game is stacked against you, but if you start deving, you get more control and more options to make profit. This video is for educational purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. Your capital is still at risk. I'm just here to explain how the process works. Okay, everyone, it's nearly time for the live demonstration, but before we get there, a quick look at some of the stories unfolding on the charts here. So you can see this coin, this Yuki coin here, initially started off with quite a high amount of investment and then has sort of took a long time really to get that momentum. And now the problem is that as a trader, I have to sit here and think, especially early on, I have to think like, right, this coin doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Do I just cut my losses and leave, or do I leave it? And then, you know, even when it starts kicking up, you can see sort of right towards the end here, you can see that already that confidence is starting to drop in this coin. It could rocket miles up, but you can see here by that red little blot there that already people are starting to lose a bit of their faith in this coin. And that's one of the problems with trading, is that you're kind of at the whim of the body public. And, you know, it's no wonder with how, you know, unpredictable people are that P&Ls can often look like this. But what if I were to say that this method can be a lot more consistent in terms of your initial investment and profit? So we are going to launch our own coin, and we are going to use createcoin.fun as the site that will allow us to do that. Best part, you don't need to know how to code. There's no coding required. You don't need to spend ages, you know, clickety-clacky at your keyboard to create these coins. All you need to do is push a couple of buttons. Now, when it comes to being able to launch a coin, you need a little bit of Solana in your Phantom wallet already, and you just need a bit of time, and then you're ready to go. So one of the first things I want to talk about when it comes to CreateCoin is the market that it uses. Now, you can see here I'm looking at the pump market, and though there are a few that get through, you know, the initial barriers, most of these coins have a market cap of like $15, $20, look, $1.2. I mean, when you're getting into the decimal points in just single-digit dollar values, you know, things aren't really going great, but some, you know, say get into tens of Ks, and some even to the hundreds of Ks. They're the very lucky ones, right? Now, if I switch over to a different market, I'm going to use the Metora market, hitting dynamic on terminal here. Now, you can see the market caps already are much higher, and the reason for that is because the Metora market is not as packed with shitcoins. When you launch onto Metora, there's less competition, and also there are less restrictions on your market cap, and this is the market that createcoin.fun uses to launch your coins on. So that means we have got a friendlier market to launch our coin on, which is great. Now, I've got about $100 in the Phantom wallet. That's roughly what you're going to need, $100 worth of Solana. So we're going to connect wallet, hit Phantom, and then we are ready to go in terms of our finances. So most people, when they use this site, they would just simply create their own coin. So you can just give it its own name and, you know, whatever, you can put what you like in there, and that would be great, and you can base it on a narrative and all the usual stuff, but that's going to take a lot of hard work, and frankly, we're not going to do that. So instead, what we're going to do is we are going to copy a trending coin. Now, these coins already have done well on the pump market, which, as I've explained earlier, is not as hospitable an environment for these coins. So you can tell they've got some serious hype behind them, so you don't need to worry about the performance of the coin necessarily, or even its popularity. You can just switch it over to the Metora market and let it roll. Okay, so this is two of the things that compound in this method. So you've got the names, you've got the market caps they previously achieved and when they were last paired. If you're not happy, you can refresh as always. So I'm thinking we might go with Polite Cat today. So we're going to hit copy coin. All right, and when we do, you will initially get this request blocked part of the process. So you just need to click through that. So you click, you know, confirm, tick a box and confirm. Okay, you proceed through that normal part of the process. I do this every single time I set one of these up. So it's just the standard sort of thing you need to go through. Right, so now we need to create our liquidity pool. So this is us putting an initial investment into the coin. So the only thing we need to worry about on this menu, even though we've got all this information, we've got the name, we've got the amount of tokens, etc., we only need to actually worry about the amount of Solana we're going to put into the coin. So I typically put in 0.2. 0.2 Solana tends to be the successful amount for me. So I'm going to confirm that transaction there. And then in a few moments, we will be live and on the market. But before we get there, we need to do one more thing. Okay. And as you can see down at the bottom here, we have got our coin here nearly ready to go on market. So you've got the pooled SOL, you've got the amount of tokens, you've got the estimated value, etc. But what we're going to do before we have a look on DEX Dex Screener is we are going to hit this little lightning bolt button here. Now, this is the crucial part of the process. This is what makes it tick and makes it work. We are going to boost our token on Dex Screener's trending list for 1 hour. So what this does is it puts us in front of all the bots that click automatically and in front of all the trend chasers that click without thinking. These are the guys that we want to use to generate our liquidity. So we're going to pay the 0.25 sol, but I can guarantee you that you will get that back and then some. Okay, we are going to make some serious profit and you'll see it live in a moment. So let's hit the boost and let's hit confirm. There we are. Okay, so easy as that. We are boosted now. Let's have a quick look on Dex Screener. Remember, our value is currently at $15. We'll see how much that changes later on. So here we are. Okay, so we're on Dex Screener. Our coin is live, as you can see there. We were put on a minute ago and bam, already brilliant. Look at that. We've already hit 4K in terms of our market. 5K. This is really impressive, guys. So as you can see, we've only been running for a very short period of time and already we have burst past most of the coins that get uploaded onto Pump. Yes, even though it came down a little bit, but you know, these coins ebb and flow. They always do. But you can see how the compounding factors, the better market, the hyped coin, and the boost are working together. Now, I make money on these coins, and obviously each time I do, I would like to share some of that with you. Thanks for watching the video. So if you like, subscribe, and leave a comment, I will put you into a prize draw where you could win half of what I make on this coin. Now, we're back on createcoin.fun. Let's see how much our coin has upped in value. So we started off at $15, and let's see what we are sitting at now in terms of our estimated value. So from $15, we've gone up to, bit of a drum roll as I wait for this to connect. There we go. Right, $15 to $1,000, nearly $1,100, guys. It's as easy as that. You hit the minus button, you pull 100% of that liquidity, you confirm the transaction, it goes into your pocket. All right, now you haven't got long, because before long, most people, so we've gone from 100 to 1,000, we've 10x'd our initial investment, guys. So you haven't got long. People are going to get on this. You need to get on this method now and make some serious cash.